All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to Ironside Minyan. Glad to see you guys again. This week's parasha is Parashat Yitro. In this week's parasha, the main event is Matan Torah, the 10 Commandments, on the top of Har Sinai. And typically I would speak about that. But this week's parasha is Parashat Yitro. I want to talk about Yitro for a minute. It's always, he's not going to come by again in the rest of the Chumash. Now that he's here, I want to take just a small caption of what happened in the beginning of the parasha and build on it. It says over there, Vayishma Yitro choted Moshe. It says that that Yitro heard. What did he hear? Keep in mind, the Jewish people just got out of Egypt, splitting of the sea. They're now in the desert. What did he hear? Rashi tells us right there, he heard of the splitting of the sea, and he heard of the war of Amalek, that Amalek came to attack the Jews right after the splitting of the sea. So Yitro comes to the desert to meet up with Moshe. Let's get some background. Who is Yitro? Who is he? Well, first they introduce him as the high priest of Midian. In other words, the Pope of all popes in that time. In other words, just like nowadays we have a Pope, this guy was the Pope of all popes, in charge of all of them. They would all answer to him. He was Kohen Midian. He was also the advisor to Paro. When Paro was in Egypt, he had a few advisors. It was Bilam, it was Yitro, it was also Eov, and Yitro was one of his advisors. And there's a lot of midrashim that talk about the advice that he gave to Paro and what happened thereafter. And he's also the father-in-law of Moshe. Moshe married Yitro's daughter by the name of Tzipporah. This is Yitro. Just give you some background on who this character is. It's very interesting also, certain parts of the Torah, it says Yitro choted Moshe, and then other parts it says Moshe choted Yitro. What's the difference? One time they say Moshe, the brother and the son-in-law of Yitro. In another place it says Yitro, the father-in-law of Moshe. In other words, there's certain times when they give credit to Yitro, and certain times they give credit to Moshe. Prior to Yetziat Mitzrayim, Yitro, he was a big shot, right? He's the Kohen of Midian. So at that time, they would say that Moshe, he is the son-in-law of Yitro. Yitro is the big deal, right? After Yetziat Mitzrayim, after the whole world heard of what Moshe did, and the splitting of the sea, and all the wonders that Hashem did for Am Yisrael, all of a sudden Moshe is the main character. All of a sudden, Yitro, he's the father-in-law of Moshe. Sort of like it shifted a little bit. Sometimes you see, sometimes there's brothers, they say, "Oh, Joey, you're Isaac's brother." No, Joey's my brother. Or, "Oh, you're Alex's friend." No, Alex is my friend. They always, it's like a little ego war with a little bit of name dropping. So you see, it's very interesting that in the Chumash, that sometimes you see that they refer to each other in that way, almost like drawn to a higher rank or standing in society. And that's how they would name themselves. Now, the question goes, here comes Yitro. He comes to the desert. He comes to the desert with Tzipporah, Moshe's wife, and Moshe's two kids, Gershom and Eliezer. And if you ever want to do a trick question on the Shabbat table, and you ever want to say, who were the only two Jews that weren't in Yetziat Mitzrayim? You know what the answer would be? Moshe's kids. Those were the only two Jews that were not in Yetziat Mitzrayim. What happened? Moshe is on the way to Mitzrayim. Him, his wife, and his two kids. On the way there, Aharon meets him in the desert. He tells him, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm coming to save the Jewish people." He's like, "We got enough slaves over there. What are you bringing out? Your wife and your two kids? Leave them here. When we finish what we have to do over there, you'll come back and pick him up." So this is what happened. They just finished Yetziat Mitzrayim, so now they come and they pick him up. But it's very interesting. It's a great trick question. Who were the only two Jews that weren't in Yetziat Mitzrayim? Moshe's kids. Great trivia question. So anyway, Yitro comes and he meets Moshe, and they sit down and they have this whole powwow. What Moshe shares with Yitro what happened. Look at all the wonders. Look what happened since I last saw you, and he catches him up. What happens there? It says Vayichad Yitro. He got the goosebumps. He got all shaken up by the story. He got very touched by the story that Moshe told him, to the point that he converted. Now I want to ask you something. If you open up the newspaper tomorrow and you see the Pope converted to Judaism, would that be big news? That'd be huge news. People would want to know why. You have to understand, Yitro, the commentators tell us, he worshipped every kind of avodah zarah. Every kind. There wasn't one kind he didn't try. So, and not only that, he was not only the head of not only a priest, he was the head of all the priests. All the priests answered to him. He was the big shot of all big shots. So for him to convert, it's a big deal. So the question is, why would he convert? Not only that, if he is the highest priest of avodah zarah, how come he merited to be the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu? How come he merited to have a parasha in the Torah? Parashat Yitro. Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't have a parasha in his name. Yitro does. Not only that, later on he gives advice that the whole nation of Israel takes his advice. Why did Yitro merit all that? How is it possible that an idol worshipper gets all this credit? And the answer to that is because he found the truth. And he pursued it. Yitro, at the end of the day, was a very spiritual guy. He was just on the wrong exit. In other words, he was looking for spirituality everywhere. Couldn't find it. He tried this, he tried that, he tried this, he tried that. In the process, he became an affluent man, and he was in charge of a bunch of different things, but at the end of the day, he was looking for spirituality, ruchaniyut. He was looking for the truth. And when he found it, what did he do? He stopped right there and there, stopped everything, converted to Judaism, went back home and started to spread the word. That's why he merited to all that. Because at the end of the day, even though he was doing everything that was wrong, he was worshipping all type of different idolatry, but when it came to the point where he found the truth, he didn't think about it twice. He accepted it, converted, and went to spread the word. He was spiritual but was on the wrong path. How does that tie into nowadays? I'll give you an example. People today are very, very spiritual. They are, but they're just in the wrong places. I'll give you an example. People that take drugs. Believe it or not, those are very, very spiritual people. They're looking to get elevated or to get enlightened. They want to get to a high place. They took the wrong exit. They just took the wrong route. As a matter of fact, sometimes you see the people that were on the wrong side of the tracks, when they find the truth and they flip over, they become real righteous and pious people. They just didn't know. They just didn't know. Nightclubs. How come nightclubs has such an allure? Hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands of people just dancing, hands up in the air. What's the appeal over there? They tell us that music has one of the strongest powers spiritually. Music has a tremendous amount of power. Music can take you to places where many things can't. As a matter of fact, in Bet HaMikdash, when the Kohanim were working, who was there on the wayside? Leviim. What were they doing? Singing. Instruments. There was singing and live music in Bet HaMikdash. It helped the Kohanim and the whole scene over there get to a much higher level. The singing and the music and the words that were used brought them to a much higher level. So when you see all these people in the clubs, what are they doing? They're looking for spirituality. They just took the wrong exit. Just in the wrong place. Even sometimes, I'm talking here to a room full of Jews, but sometimes you see Jews that go to different religions. Why? Oh, I want the peace, I want the yoga, I want the tranquility. Yes, you're looking for spirituality. You just didn't find yours. I have to say a quick story. I didn't plan on saying this story, but it's something very interesting. There was one time this guy, an Israeli guy, at the age of 18 years old, he went to Tibet, to this special yogi, this guy that was like, world famous. And he says, I want to learn everything from this guy. Everything. He was his disciple for close to 20 years. 20 years he was with him. And he went up in ranks and he became his assistant, and later on they became friends. And after 20 years, the guy was close to 40 years old. He became absolutely subordinate to this Buddha master in Tibet. After 20 years, his master tells him, I want to share something with you. I want to share a secret with you. On this day, on this time, on this night, come and see me in my chambers. Comes to his chambers. He opens up a box. Inside the box, something wrapped up in red velvet. He opens it up. He goes to him, I'm about to reveal a huge secret. One of the biggest secrets to the entire world and to existence and how the planet works. He unfolds it. And what does he see? A Star of David. He goes to him, what's this? He goes to him, I'm about to reveal you the secret of the Star of David. He goes to him, the Star of David? This is me. I'm Israeli. I'm Jewish. This is where I come from. He goes to him, you're Jewish, you're Israeli. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? When the guy, after putting in 20 years of his life to this guy, when he heard that, he went straight back to Israel. He researched the Star of David, got deeper into the religion, and today he's a big Talmid Chacham, but it just goes to show you that sometimes people are looking for spirituality, for things all over the world. Later on they find out what you were looking for is who you were from the beginning. Your neshama, being a Jew, it's right there. The more you tap into it, the more you'll discover yourself. And we learn from this that when you seek the truth, Hashem will elevate you. From Yitro we learned that. He was looking for the truth. When he found it, what happened? He got elevated. He was the father-in-law of Moshe. He got a parasha in the Torah. He was able to, he got all this, he got, besides being the priest of Midian, he had his offspring, the kids that came from him, also on a much higher level. How is it possible? You could say, but look at his history. He was an idol worshiper. Hashem says, no, he was looking for the truth. And when he found the truth, he went for it. And because of that, I elevated him. Same thing goes to a person. Sometimes when they come back from the other side, Hashem elevates him right away. Very, very interesting about the Torah. Listen to this. After this meeting, and Yitro, as an observer, comes and sees what's going on, what does he see? He sees Moshe sitting down, and thousands and thousands and thousands of people sitting in front of him, waiting to ask questions. So as an outsider, he comes to Moshe, and he tells him, what's going on over here? He goes to him, Navol Tibor, you're going to wilt away. You're going to waste away. This is not how you do it. This is not the way you do it. You just sit here all day long and people are standing all day long trying to ask you questions. This is not, not only is it not the way to do it, it just doesn't make sense. He says what you should do is you should take some people and appoint them. Officers, assistants, judges, police officers, and put them in charge over tens, over hundreds, over 1,000. In other words, they'll sift through the people, and only the big issues that really have to be dealt with will come to you. That was his advice. Moshe takes the advice, goes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he asks him, should I take this advice? Hashem tells him, yes, take the advice. He goes ahead and implements this new plan that Yitro recommended to him. And not too long after that, right before the second Aliyah, what does it say over there? Vaishalach Moshe Yitro. Moshe sends Yitro away. What happened? It was just so amazing right now. He just converted, he was into it, he gave you some great advice, and all of a sudden you're sending him away? What happened? What's behind the scenes over here that we're not seeing? So the question is why? Why was he sent away? The answer is, logistically, he gave great advice. Made sense. Yes, it does work. On paper, it looks good. But it did something else. it caused the Jewish people to lose the opportunity to have FaceTime with Moshe Rabbeinu. Let's put it this way. How long did people stand online for the Lubavitcher Rebbe on Sunday to get that dollar? Hours? Some people would be there days before, waiting. How long would you wait if you had a chance to speak to Moshe Rabbeinu? Would you wait a day, a week, a month, a year? I can tell you right now that 99% of Jews will take the time to wait to have that FaceTime with Moshe Rabbeinu. You could just imagine it. Not only are you there, you can ask him a question for advice, but imagine Moshe Rabbeinu blessing you. You should have great health, and your family, and you'll be a great success. Oh my God, you know what that is? Would you give that up for anything? I wouldn't. And what happened is, Yitro caused all the Jewish people to lose that. I want to give you a personal story. 2 days ago, there was a big rabbi in Miami. A year ago, a big rabbi passed away. His name was Arav Yoram Amersher. Okay? He passed away a little bit more than a year ago. His son was in town this week. And I had the zechut, the merit, to go to somebody's home and hear him speak. And I was able to kiss his hand. And the following day, I had the merit to see him in shul. And later on, I had some FaceTime with him, one-on-one. And I opened up to him. I told him, Rabbi, I'm struggling with this. I need some advice on that, so on and so forth. The rabbi gave me such incredible advice that uplifted me, that opened up my heart, that gave me the strength and the power to surge forward for the next year or two, probably the rest of my life. And I realized to myself, oh my God, imagine if I didn't have these few minutes and this unbelievable advice from the rabbi. Imagine if I didn't have it. That means that today I'd be back on my normal thing, like still thinking about, should I go left, should I go right, should I go forward, should I go backwards? The rabbi gave me direction. He gave me the right advice, and I felt it. I got emotional about it. So what do we see over here? It's the same thing with Moshe. Yitro prevented that from happening to every single Jew, to having that FaceTime with Moshe Rabbeinu. What did Moshe Rabbeinu say? Thank you so much for the advice. It's time for you to go. You've hurt us enough. As a matter of fact, when he said Nabol Tibol, that you're going to roll to waste, where some rabbis say it was almost like a curse. It might come true because of the way that you're going to, and later on, we see in the few parashot, these words are going to come back. I'll bring it up then. So what happened? Yitro basically gave bad spiritual advice. So what's the difference? On paper, his advice is amazing. Even if we look at it, yeah, that makes sense. Millions of people in the desert, yeah, put some people on, in charge, and they'll take care of everything else, and whatever they have to deal with, bring to Moshe. Yeah, that makes sense. But spiritually, is that good advice? No, that's not good spiritual advice. That's not good advice for somebody who wants to get connected to his rabbi. It's not the same thing talking to the rabbi like talking to his assistant, or talking to somebody who is his right-hand man. It's not like the same. It's not the same thing. So, what do we learn from there? In life, you have to make sure that when you do take advice, as a Jew, you think about, is this good advice for me spiritually? In other words, yes, on paper, it looks like I'm going to be more efficient. It looks like I'm going to do a lot more this way. But is it going to take time away from my spirituality? Am I going to learn less? Am I going to do less of Hashem's work? Am I going to be less religious because of this advice? Then you have to say, you know what? Looks great on paper, but I'm going to put it away. Because for me, I need advice that helps me spiritually. Keep in mind, we are the people of the book. We are spiritual people. We're not the people of the world. We're not mundane. When we do something, it has to be connected to our neshama. It has to be connected to the reason that we're in this world. We're not here to make money and build buildings. We're here to elevate our soul. So when you get that advice, even though that it looks great, is it good spiritual advice? The last point, and with this I'll conclude. If that's so, if Yitro really gave such bad advice, why did Hashem agree? Why did Hashem say, yes, implement Yitro's suggestion? Why? If it was such bad advice, if it cost so many Jewish people, they lost the opportunity to have FaceTime with Moshe Rabbeinu, why did Hashem agree to it? Right? If spirituality is the most important thing, ruchaniyut, being connected to your rabbi. So, here's another way to see Torah in a positive way. We don't want to knock it down. Yitro saw that Moshe was meriting to a huge mitzvah by himself. In other words, he's sitting down, thousands of people are asking for advice, so the fact that he's sitting there and he's servicing the public, he's getting the zchut, or he's getting the credit for the mitzvah by himself. Yitro says, that's not fair. That's not the right way. You have such a huge mitzvah. Share it. Split it up. Let others merit to have this zchut with you. When you make the calculations, they say that at the end, when they counted, they said they had roughly 77,000 assistants, officers, judges. When you split it up and you divide it by the population, it was almost like 1 per 10. Almost one judge or one assistant or one officer per 10. Actually less, more like 7 or 8. So imagine, every 7 or 8 people had somebody to turn to. It's a lot. That's a lot. Imagine like almost every group like this had somebody. So it looked at how Yitro was saying, take your one mitzvah, and now you're able to divide it or multiply it 77,000 times. Don't take it just for yourself. Share the mitzvah. So, Hashem agreed to it in order to teach us something. When it comes to a mitzvah, don't say, you know what, this is my mitzvah. You know what, I want to sponsor the meal for the lunch and learn. I got it. No, why? Split it. 2 people, 3 people, let 3 people merit. Let's say you're going to do some chesed. You're going to go help out somebody. I'm just going to go help out somebody. I'll see you later. No. Would you like to come with me? I'm about to do a mitzvah. Would you like to come and do it with me together? Any mitzvah that you do, the whole idea is to have somebody else merit with you. That's what we're learning over here. That's why Hashem said yes to it. When it comes to a mitzvah, let somebody else share that mitzvah with you. For example, if I am a candle and I'm burning, right? I'm lit. And I take another candle and I light that candle. Am I less bright? Do I shine any less? As a matter of fact, if I light more candles, we're going to give more light. In other words, when I do a mitzvah, it's just me by myself. But if I light more people and they're all doing the mitzvah, more light in the world. It doesn't take away from your own light. It doesn't make your credit or your share of it less. So we learn over here that the whole concept of doing mitzvah in groups as opposed to solo is what Hashem wanted. Hashem wanted to introduce that concept through Yitro. Now, again, when it comes to mitzvot, if it's charity, if it's chesed, if, for example, like you go to a class on Wednesday, don't go by yourself and like, oh, you know what, I can't wait to learn this new class. Call a friend. Come with me. Unbelievable speaker. Come and hear him. That's chesed. That's splitting the mitzvah. Double the reward. Now, this is the last concept, and listen to this. They say that Am Yisrael echad, that the Jewish nation is one. Okay, because we're talking about sharing mitzvot, right? Let's expound on this concept of sharing mitzvot. It says we are all united. We're all one. Let's go back in time. Adam HaRishon, all the souls of all humankind were in that form, were in that body, were in that one soul, Adam. Okay? Once he got out of Gan Eden, there's a pasuk that says, "Apach nishbar, v'anachnu nimlatnu." The vessel broke, and we were able to escape. What happened? Adam was all compiled of billions and billions of little souls, and each soul is one of us. Each one of these little souls, we were inside Adam HaRishon. They say everyone comes from a different body part. Some come from the heel, some come from the head, some come from the body, and each body part tells a lot about a person. Like, for example, do you ever see people that when they're sitting down, their legs are like shaking all the time? You know, like, or they like to, you know, like, I don't know, like, move the bottom of their feet. They say it's a sign that they come from that part of Adam Rishon. For example, my daughter, she has a habit. Since she was a baby, she's always touching her ear, right here. So you say, you know, she comes from that part of Adam Rishon. I'll share something with you personal, but it's funny. I have a habit that sometimes when I come home and I take off my shirt, I scratch, like, you know, just to loosen up. My wife always says, I think you come from the armpit of Adam Rishon. Because I'm always like, I thought just getting comfortable. Like, no, I think there's something there. It's, you know, whatever. But everyone comes from a certain part of Adam Rishon. So the Am Yisrael is all parts of Adam Rishon. Now we also got 613 mitzvot, right? So listen to this. If we have 613 mitzvot, there's no way that anybody can perform all 613. It's impossible. As a matter of fact, right now, 2017, 613 mitzvot is not possible. Half of them pertain to Bet HaMikdash. We don't have Bet HaMikdash right now. It's coming, but it's not here right now. Half the mitzvot don't pertain to us. There's a bunch of other mitzvot that not everybody can perform. I'll give you an example. There's Yibum. What's Yibum? When a person, God forbid, passes away and he leaves behind a wife, his younger brother needs to take over the wife. Not everybody merits to do that mitzvah, right? There's a mitzvah of Pidyon Ben. Pidyon Ben, that it's a firstborn, it's a first pregnancy, first birth from the only one woman, and then we can do Pidyon Ben with the Kohen after 30 days. Okay, does everybody merit to have a boy the first time around? Does everybody have that the first pregnancy is a boy? Sometimes they're girls. So there you go, another mitzvah that you might not be able to perform. Brit Milah. How about those parents that get all girls? So the father doesn't merit to do the Brit Milah mitzvot with his children. How about korbanot? Like we said, all the offerings in Bet HaMikdash. So you can see that there's some things that not everybody merits to do some mitzvot. But we have 613. So how is it possible for a Jew to perform 613 mitzvot? So here it is. Am Yisrael Echad. Right? We are all one. The nation of Israel is all one. Collectively, we can't perform all 613 mitzvot. In other words, you might be able to put tefillin this morning. That guy over there can perform Pidyon Ben. That guy over there can do the Yibum. Each one has that. And collectively, when we put all the Jews together, the 613 are performed. As long as we're together. So what do we learn here? Hashem wants us to share the mitzvot. That's one thing. And by sharing the mitzvot, we get to perform all 613 together. And the big secret here is that when every Jew does his part, we get to merit the 613. If we don't, when we're divided, then we don't have the unity. And the biggest thing in Judaism is to be united. They say when the Jews are united, we succeed, we'll win, we'll be on top. When we're divided, we fail, and the Goyim are able to win us. Which, Chaz v'shalom, we see that nowadays a little bit. So, I wish for us to merit, to see, for us to chase the truth like Yitro, to merit to see the rabbis, to have FaceTime with rabbis of our generation, not to miss out on that. And I wish for all of us to do it mitzvot so we can all collectively be united and Be'ezat Hashem Diskot to really perform the Taryag mitzvot all together as one. Shabbat Shalom.